All right, let's dive right in. I'm going to share my screen. Let's do it this way where I'm little. Can I go here maybe? Let's go here. Okay. What you're looking at here is make.com. Okay. This is how I handle all of the automations that we build out or that we use. And this is a lot of how we use AI. Actually, side note, like there's two places that I use AI the most. One is through make.com scenarios. I'll actually show you a more complicated one than this to show you like how intense they get. But also we have an internal tool that we built to help us better manage the performance of the sales teams of the clients that we work with that has a lot of AI baked into it. That's more hard-coded stuff. I hired a developer about 8 months ago, and that's we've been working and building that. This stuff is all stuff that I can build out myself, which is very nice because then I don't need to use a developer to do that. I'll actually show you a more complicated one so you can see like there's levels to this thing. Where's my content? Geez, I have too many, huh? Webinar content automation. So here's our most complicated flow. This is the automation that I use to create all of our webinars, by the way. That includes the deck. It includes all of the promo emails, all of the reminders, emails, everything. This is the workflow that we use. And you're going to see this principle applies here as well as to the content automation that I'm about to show you. I keep the human, which is me, in the loop as much as I can in order to get the best possible output. So just to show you, like these things can get big, they can get complicated, they can get scary, but you're not going to be scared by the end of this because you're going to understand what we're doing. All right, so I'm going to start by showing you the back end, and then I'm going to show you the front end here. And yeah, Monica says, "Wow, this shows me I have so much more to learn." Let me tell you, this phrase right here, it will never not be spoken. Every day I'm like, oh my gosh, there's just another level to this thing. Like, for example, actually, I'll share that with you. I'm working on something super cool with this content automation. It's so cool. When we get to that point, I'll show you the change we're going to make. Okay, so I'm going to show you the back end first, just at a high level, and then I'm going to show you the front end, which is Airtable, and then I'm going to share with you how these all work together. So a webhook triggers this automation, and then we're doing some stuff here to get my writing style. We're pulling that from Airtable. Then we do some formatting here. Then we are pulling what are called edit examples. We're formatting some of the edit examples. I'll show you what those are in a minute. We're generating a description. We're generating floating text. We're generating a social post. We're editing that social post. And then in addition, we are doing the same. This branch here is actually for different post types that we're in the process of implementing. So this branch here is very much, sorry, it zooms so fast. This branch here is very similar to this branch. So don't worry too much about the branches right now. I'll explain some of the future vision for this stuff so you guys can get an idea of how I think through this. But remember, ultimately the goal is how can I create content for LinkedIn very, very quickly? That's content that we can write. And it worked. Over the last year, we've been using this. I've had more than 6 million views on my posts across LinkedIn. I have about 49,000 followers, just for context there. Okay, let me show you the front end, and then we're going to bounce between these two things. Is there like a better way to, I don't know. I'm trying, when I pinch to zoom, it like goes crazy. You see that? But okay. Here is the Airtable. So what happens here, just to actually walk you through my process, come back to me for a second, actually, folks, real quick. Come back to me. Hi. Isn't this nice? Okay. So real quick, so you understand the process. I do a lot of stuff like this, where it's me just yapping into the abyss and you love it. I love it. It's the greatest thing ever. I do all of this. And then I also was sitting down and writing all of these LinkedIn posts. And it always felt crazy to me because I do so much content that like I have to then go and like write all these LinkedIn posts, and it's really annoying. So what I did was I built this process out to support turning clips of me talking into posts for social media. Now we're making big changes to be able to create posts based on anything, not just a clip of me talking. But right now, what I'm about to walk you through is the clip of me talking and how that gets turned into a social media post. Here's what I recommend. One thing that I do every single week is I sit down for an hour with a good friend of mine named Dan. And Dan and I do a podcast. That podcast is basically a clip farming podcast. We have some topics we want to talk about. We talk like two buddies, and we're just doing the podcast. We're not posting it as a podcast anywhere. We're just doing the podcast. So that way we have clips that we can post on social media. Not only do I post them as video clips on Instagram and TikTok, I also convert those into social posts, which goes to LinkedIn, which is the platform I have the largest audience on. So I want to set that as the kind of the foundation here. This process was designed to support both the development of the content I need in order to post on Instagram and TikTok, as well as convert that into a social post. I can go on X and go on LinkedIn. Okay, so I just want to make that clear so you understand how that works. Are we back? Okay, yes, we are. Great. So here's what happens. A piece of content gets added here. So we have a test. Let's just make sure that everything that we need is in here. Give me a second. It's loading. Okay, cool. So you can see here is a transcript of me talking about Amazon's recent layoffs. Okay, this is an actual clip of me talking. This is a test. Normally the link to that clip will be here, and I'll show you a final example in a minute. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to delete all this stuff. Delete, 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 delete. Okay, so this is the first step of the process. We get the clips. We have the clips, and each clip has a transcript. My assistant comes in. Her name's Esther. She's amazing. Esther comes in here, and she copies and pastes the transcript of that clip in here. And then she also copies and pastes the link to that clip in here. Okay, that's her main thing. And then she moves this lead status from content, which is where it was originally while she's setting everything up. Once the transcript and the link are in there, she moves that to preparation. Okay, now let's go back here. You can see we just moved it from content to preparation. That's going to trigger this automation. What this automation is doing, as you can see, look at that, popped right up. Boom. And this is working live, by the way. How rare is that? Normally everything breaks live. This runs this automation. What this automation is going to do is it's going to take that transcript and run it through a series of prompts. Those prompts are to write the description for the Instagram reel, as well as the floating text, which is for an Instagram reel. It'll be a little text that floats for the first 6 seconds and then disappears. It writes 3 options for floating text, 3 options for descriptions for Instagram, and then it goes through a process of writing the social post that I end up sharing on LinkedIn and then X. The social post process has 2 steps. Step 1, write the social post based on the transcript. Step 2 is edit the draft of that social post from the first step, edit it to make it way better. That's step 2. And how we facilitate that is we have examples of human edits where I have gone in and made a heavy edit to a post. We give that to the LLM within our prompt, and that says like, hey, look, here are some edits that we have done. These are the types of edits we want you to do. And I keep adding more edit examples as I make edits. And that way it's feeding the LLM and it's getting better and better and better at editing, which means the final post become more and more like how we operate or how I write. Okay. You can see this is in real time. This is going through the process right now. A couple of things about edit examples while this is loading. Right here are all the edit examples. What you see, let me open this up. You see the first draft. This is completely AI generated first draft. Edited draft is actually human edited. So this is my edit of the post that came out, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And then we give the original transcript. In the prompt here that is responsible for editing, which is running right now, by the way. Can I click on this while it's running? No, I can't. I'll show you the prompt a little later. It's pretty long. We insert 3 random edit examples from this table into the prompt to give the LLM some examples of edits that I, as the human, make. So it knows what types of edits it should be doing to more closely resemble the type of edits that me as a human is using. Okay. Does that make sense for everybody? This is where it gets a little bit complicated. So type in yes if that makes sense to you. So that's what we're doing right here. And since this is done now, I should be able to show you. I'll show you what this prompt looks like. I get a little bigger. You can see right here is the whole prompt. It's very long. So I'm just going to scroll through it quickly. You can see this is a very long prompt. There's a lot of things that it's doing. It has instructions there around voice. We're also populating it with some of my own writing style, which I'll show you a little bit later. Okay, look, this is making sense, everybody. Good, good. And then as we go down here, I want to just show you. Dang, this is even longer than I thought it was. Jeez, what a monster. Okay, this is a longer one. Okay, cool. So right here, sample edits. So right here in the prompt, we give a bunch of sample edits. Hey, this is what a good edit looks like. And then we actually give it the content that it needs to edit. Okay, let's go back to the post that we're using as our example here. Social post examples. We use those too, by the way. That's my webinar. Okay, right here. So let's take a look here. So let's do this in waves. Let's do clip description and floating text. So remember, I need to post this. So I'm going to go through and choose a clip description. I do this as a human. Aren't about it. It's simple choice. The real story about these layers. Okay, cool. So I like this third one the best. I might even make tweaks. This is just an example, so I'm not going to make any tweaks right now. I sometimes make a couple of tweaks here. And then the floating text, maybe I'll use this one. Actually, I kind of like the second one. Maybe I'll use the second one. I'd probably do a hybrid of these two and just change it up a little bit. But that's the type of editing that I'll do. I'll do a couple of quick edits just to get these right. These aren't like the most important thing to me. We need a description. We need floating text. So I'm not too worried about these ones. I care a lot more about making sure that our text social posts. So remember, we have this real long transcript here. And the first thing it does is it writes a post. So this is the first draft from the AI. The narrative that Amazon layoffs are about AI replacing jobs is lazy. The reality is about corporate finance, not automation. AWS can't buy enough expensive GPU chips to meet cloud demand without destroying the profit margins Wall Street expects. They're being forced to trade talent for hardware. Read these layoffs not as a map of where AI is automating, but as a list of what Amazon finds the least painful to cut when a choice must be made. Not too bad. By the way, the style I have this built out in are the style of post where it's like 5 sentences and supposed to be really quick. What happens is we take this post and that goes to the editing post that I just showed you, that prompt I just walked you through with the edit examples. It takes this post and sends it there. And then this is what gets outputted. You can see that's pretty similar. Not about it is lazy. The reality is corporate finance automation. Trying to see how these are different. So you see there's slight differences here in this one. So I'm going to widen this out a little bit so you guys can see. And if you'd like, you can even read these two totally. So like I would edit this and I would change them to read these layoffs as a list of what Amazon finds least painful to cut when a choice must be made. So I might make a couple of edits to this one, but overall it's pretty good. This writes very similar to how I write. And up here, you can see this is a copy of that edited post. This is for me as a human to edit. I'll come in here and make some tweaks to this post. It takes me a minute and a half at most. And then what I do, if I make a really heavy edit, guess what? I go here, I go to our edit examples, and I add it here because I made a heavy edit. And what that means is that the LLM did not edit this very well, or they did not create the original post very well based on that transcript. So I'll do a heavy edit and I save it as a heavy edit, or I save it as an edit example. If I don't make a heavy edit, which is the vast majority of the time, they're pretty quick edits, then I don't save it as an edit example because I'm just changing a couple of words here or there. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, so go back to our social posts here. Let me show you some of the ones that we had done a while ago here. I'd like to find one. Let's do this one here. Let me just show you this one. So right here, I'll show you the clip because it's linked in. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. I hope you can. Can everyone hear that? Type in yes if you can hear that. I'm not sure if you'll be able to. Okay, so it seems like you guys can't hear it. All right, sad. You don't really need to hear it. You get it. You get the idea. It's a clip of me talking. That's where the transcript comes from. That transcript got loaded up here, just to kind of repeat what we have gone through so far. I want to answer a question from Steven. Does your draft prompt have any specific instructions to double check facts from the original source material or the larger internet? So this is actually a really, really important question because you need to tread a bit lightly with how you write your prompts. Yes, the original prompt has instructions in there that instead of it saying like double check facts from the original, it's very clear it must come from the original. You're preserving the voice of the original one. The reason why I don't have strict rules around like double check facts, make sure it's from the original source, don't use like larger internet stuff or larger stuff from your knowledge. The reason I don't is sometimes I need the LLM to fill in the gaps. So if you want the LLM only to respond with stuff that's in the source material, you want to be really strict. And you want to say, hey, double check that you did not include anything that is outside of what the source material provides. In other cases, I want it to fill in the gaps occasionally. So I give it a little bit more breadth to be able to do that. So Steve, let me know if that answered your question. Okay, so back to this. We have the transcript, just like I showed you. You can see the first draft and the second draft. Let me zoom in here. Conference networking is mostly a waste of time. Instead, I host a dinner whenever I'm in town for an event. That's basically the same. I'll book a table for 20 and invite a mix of people I know plus a cold list of the area. Okay, this is basically the same. It's a great way to build an actual community. It's a great way to build an actual community. A friend of mine splits 6K, a 6K bill with partners to do this and gets tons of leads from it. So this one actually didn't feel like it had to do much editing at all, which is fine. It doesn't have to do a lot of big edits. Obviously, it changed the formatting, but look at my human edit here. So I came in and I edited this and I kept it basically the same, but I made this more real because sometimes he spends 10K, not 6K. So I made a couple of changes here. I also just changed the structure of this part. Like I fixed this sentence right before to make it flow a little bit nicer. And so I actually made some heavier. I might have even have saved this as an edit example now that I'm looking at it. But okay, so I made some human tweaks to this. I would save this as an edit example because I made a good amount of edits to it. Now, this edit took me a minute and a half, maybe. Writing this post from my brain would have probably taken me 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes, honestly. So it saves me a good amount of time. Other edits, that'll take me 30 seconds and I just get through it really quickly. And it comes out very close to what I would want it to do. Now, here's something fun. Okay, you ready? Now I'm going to start talking to you about some of the things that we're building out. Actually, this week, it should go live by Friday to make this even better. Oh, actually, no, this won't go live until next week. This is actually really hard what we're doing. So remember, we talked about these edit examples of the different social posts. Oh, actually, side note, has this been useful for you guys so far? If you could type in yes, if you enjoy me just kind of nerding out about our process for using AI to write social posts, that'd be helpful to me because I want to make sure this is the type of content that's worth doing. Because again, this is a first for me. Normally, I'm doing something a lot more structured and framework driven. But okay, so you can see here we have all these edit examples. Now, what do? We have our prompt that tells the LLM how to edit, and we grab 3 random edit examples. We insert that in the prompt to show examples of edits, and then we let it run that prompt, and we are beholden to the random 3 examples to be good representations of edits that we'd want it to make to the post that it's about to edit. Okay, that's what we're doing. Okay, we got a couple of yeses. Not as many as I would like, honestly, but whatever. No one's left, so I'm assuming that's a good thing. But okay, so now some edits, some of the heavy edits that I make will be a better fit for certain types of posts than others, right? So if I have a post about me, talking about going doing dinners in places where I invite 20 people or whatever, there's going to be some edit examples that are similar to those types of posts. Like the original post will match up to some original post in some way, whether by topic, but mostly by like structure, subject matter, that kind of stuff, or AI errors. I call them errors or not. It's just like what the AI wrote. And I would rather this pick the edit examples that most closely match the original post that I'm about to ask it to edit. What I mean by that is, for example, AI does this a lot. It's not X, it's Y. Have you guys seen that before? If you type in yes, if you've seen AI do that before, where it's just like, it's not about synergy, it's about a broader understanding of what is possible. It does that all of the time. And I hate that. It drives me nuts. I think it sounds silly and not how I talk at all. But the LLM loves doing it. And it loves doing it so much that it's kind of hard to prompt my way out of it doing that. So what I have done is I've started building out a prompt that's only job is to identify quirks of AI writing that are present within an original post that it generates. So what does that mean? That means if a post has that kind of comparison, it's not this, it's that, it flags it. If the post has, a cliche in it that I end up changing cliches a lot, it'll flag the cliches in there. And we have, I forget how many, I think it's 12, it could be 13 different like AI quirks that aren't necessarily bad. And not all of them are AI related. Some of it's subject matter related too. Writing types, writing styles, post structures. We have all of these different things that might not be bad. They might be good, or they might just be bad. And it marks this prompt marks how many of those things are present within that post. So then that way we have an understanding of each first draft. What was present? Were there cliches present? Were there these comparisons present, right? So we'll have all of that in here. And we are adding a step to our automation. This is crazy, by the way. This is going to be so cool when it's done. We're adding a step to this automation to where instead of grabbing 3 random edit examples here, instead of doing that, we are going to use an AI agent to assess the draft post this editor is about to receive, determine does it have a cliche, does it have any of the 14 things that we are looking for, and marking all of those that exist within this post, and then finding the edit examples where the original drafts had the most similar assessment or different items within the post. So now instead of 3 random edit examples, we are getting 3 examples of posts that have similar features to the post that it's about to edit. And the hypothesis here is going to dramatically improve our editing because it'll have examples of how it's edited similar things in the past. If there's a comparison of like, hey, it's not this, it's that in a post, and it didn't randomly grab one of the edit examples here that has one of those comparisons to see how I've edited that out, it might not edit that out, and then I'll have to do it. But because we know that that's present, by using an AI agent to review all of the edit examples and review the post it's about to edit, by adding that step, I can grab edit examples where it has edited similar post, which will increase the performance of the editor prompt. Hopefully your eyes aren't glazing over right now. Maybe that's it's a weird thing that I'm really into, trying to fix this little problem. And we're very close to it. The edit example thing is a big deal. We also have post types. Another thing we're building out now is supporting multiple post types. So this is called a quick thought post. This is something I like to do, which is 5 sentences, just a real quick thought on something. What we're now supporting listicle posts. We're supporting contrarian posts, change style posts, which is before and after, playbooks where there's multiple steps. So we're building out different post types. And now I'm going to start transitioning into what we're building. And then we'll go into Q&A. And so if you have questions, start getting them ready here, because we're going to go to Q&A pretty quickly. But okay, so we're building that out. Now, so to show you the next iteration of this whole content process is built on doing clips. So what I would do, right, for me is I would do a podcast every week like I do. I do stuff like this and grab clips from it, right? Like I do. And that would fuel all of my content. I post 2 times a day on LinkedIn, every single day, 7 days a week. This process fuels all of it. We're actually behind here because we had to skip a podcast one of the weeks, but we like just have enough. But okay, so that's the process. But here's the thing. One, not everybody wants to do that. Two, not everybody can do that. Like some people don't have friends that they can talk to once a week. It's very, very sad. And we think about them every night in our prayers. But also like they do other things. It's like, hey, like I don't have these clips that I can just use here to generate all of my posts. That stinks because I want you to generate posts. So like our clients, for example, they want to post more on LinkedIn, on X, but they can't. And my proposal to them is, hey, go do a podcast and then follow this process. That might be okay, but it's not like inherent to what they do. So we just built out, this is going live this week, and our clients will be using this too. We just built out a way to create these posts from an article, from a Twitter thread that was interesting, from a transcript of a full recording. Actually, let me, I wonder if I can show you the transcript one. It's kind of crazy. Let me just see real quick. So one of the things, T3 chat, one of the things we built out here. Okay, and what is this? Text. Okay, cool. So as part of my testing here, let me drag this over. As part of my testing of my prompts, I test them manually. So I have this is like the whole prompt up here. And then attached this is an entire transcript of a live class I did 2 weeks ago, I think, or something. It was this entire transcript of the podcast we did. So I did clips from the recent podcast. We're following our normal process, but I wanted to see, hey, if I just took the transcript of the podcast, is it going to be able to find stuff? And I built out this prompt. It's a pretty unique way of doing it where I wanted it to identify 12 big ideas in the source material, which in this case is a transcript. My thought, by the way, is you all are doing calls every day. Like, could you take the transcripts of those calls and maybe you said something cool? And maybe that cool thing you said could be turned into a social post. So right here, it analyzes it for 12 big ideas. It gives the what and the why. So in this case, the current state of home robotics is far more clumsy and human dependent than the marketing hype suggests. That's something I spoke about on the podcast. Understanding the real world limitations of robotics helps business leaders and consumers set realistic expectations for AI and automation, revealing that we are much further from a robot takeover than we think. That's also what I was talking about on the podcast. These are my things, right, that I'm talking about. And then here's the perspective. A video recently came out showing a new X, blah, 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 blah. What is this? This is a transcript. By the way, it fills in the blanks here and makes it more transcripty. So if I didn't go into as much detail, or if I skipped some areas, maybe I'm on a call like this and I didn't, speak it as if it was like a clip or a conversation or something like that, it fills in some of the blanks and creates a perspective for me right here. So this is essentially a transcript of a clip in a situation where maybe I'm not pulling a clip from it, but I can now, at least to get the text part of the social post. And then I can come in here, and I was doing this in my testing too, and I can paste that down here as a transcript. And then I can move this to preparation, and all of our AI automations are going to go through. It's going to run, and it's going to create a post based on this. Now, I don't know what kind of post it's going to make, but what we've built out is now a way to take full transcripts, to take blog posts, to take news reports, to take tweets that you liked or posts on LinkedIn that you liked, and built out a way to summarize that, either get your perspective if you spoke your perspective on the call, or give you a place for you to add your own perspective, and then run that through and turn those into social posts. So you don't have to do a podcast every single week in order to get the material. And in addition to that, we're rolling out writing 5 posts instead of just 1. And there's a few reasons why we decided to do this. One is sometimes you want to use different post types. Okay. So for example, I don't always want to do quick thoughts. Sometimes I want a quick listicle. Sometimes what I'm talking about is more suited for a step-by-step type of playbook that you can follow, right? These are there's just different structure I might want for the post. So we have 5 different post types. It'll generate all 5. The first reason why is because one of those post types might be the most suited to that content. Second reason why is one concept here, one perspective might yield more than one post. So this one might not, right? Because it's very specific to like a news story. But if I do something on sales, which I do a lot of, I probably said something that could create three totally different posts or pretty close, same, sort of topic, but structured in a different way. That'd be totally comfortable publishing three different times. And we use the same editing process to make sure that our edits come out as human as possible. And when I tell you, like AI, like the AI detectors have no idea AI was used to create these posts. And it's because of the care in the prompting and the care in the context engineering. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people actually type in yes if you've heard of the phrase context engineering. A lot of people have heard of prompt engineering, that's creating these prompts, but there's also something called context engineering. And context engineering is where on the back end, you parse through and you organize the context you will give the LLM within one of your future prompts. And I'm very thoughtful about what context I need in order to get the best possible output. So yeah, Steven's heard of it. You're probably the only one, Steven. It's not super common. So that's why I wanted to kind of show this little piece, because it is a really important part of getting the things to come out really well. Let's see if this thing's done. Oh, it is. So here's the post that it wrote. This is after the editor. Okay, and you guys just saw the perspective, right? So this is what it wrote. This is really. Okay, so I would make some pretty heavy edits to this. I would do this. I'll just show you the edit. I don't like these dashes because I don't write them like that. I would put these in parentheses. I don't like the M dashes. And what's funny is I have a lot of prompting to get rid of M dashes, but they still pop up. And this is pretty good. Like this, I would post this. I would definitely post this. So there you go. You just saw me do that in 15 seconds, make the edits. This one, I might actually use an edit example because I didn't like, here's the kicker. Like, come on, I would never say that. So anyway, just an example in real time of how I would use this thing. All right, so that's what I have to show you. Again, this is a very different class type. I'm gonna do two things here. The first is I'm going to, and please do this, right? And I'm going to move into Q&A. I'm happy to answer any questions around using AI and sales. If you want to ask me sales questions, you can. But if you could please, at the bare minimum, fill out this survey here. That is super helpful for me, because it lets me know if you like this kind of content. Again, I've never done this before where I just kind of like show you the behind the scenes of something. I hope this was useful. The survey will tell me if it is. So if you have a moment, please do the survey. I'm going to go grab some water. And while I do that, I have a video for you to watch. So give me one moment here. Founder trying to build a repeatable sales process without decades of sales experience, watch and listen carefully. Because what I'm about to show you will stop you from wasting years of trial and error and instead give you a proven sales process designed by experts and fine-tuned in real time by our proprietary AI. In fact, we've used this process to help over 80 B2B SaaS and service companies add more than 133 million in revenue by bringing the sales expertise they didn't have and compressing years of trial and error into a predictable growth framework. Like Robert Ewan, founder of Monograph, who we've helped build their first sales team, raise 2 rounds of capital, and 3x the revenue all in 11 months. Or Matt Prados, founder of ReviewWave, who we helped grow, optimize, and scale their sales team to get back on track with 200% yearly growth goals. And the best part is, you get this consistent growth without wasting years on trial and error, piecing together random tactics, or trying to play sales expert yourself. Here's the thing. Most founders try to solve this problem in one of two ways. They either try to figure it out themselves, burning years on trial and error, or they hire and hope. Hire a sales rep and hope that they magically build the process for them. Neither works. Without real sales expertise, doing it yourself takes years you don't have. And without a proven system, that new hire is set up to fail.
Our approach is different. We design your team and sales process together, create the playbooks they need, coach them in real time, and use our proprietary AI to analyze every sales call and metric. Then we work with you to turn those insights into improvements. What this really means is that when you work with us, you're no longer guessing. You gain a dedicated go-to-market team who builds the systems with you and makes sure it actually works. In fact, I guarantee it. We'll come in and build a completely tailored sales roadmap that details exactly what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, and we implement it into your business. And if you're not 1000% convinced that this document is the holy grail of your growth goals, we'll tear up the agreement and part ways as friends. Why would we do that? Simple. We only work with people we are certain we can help. Like David Goss from Bureau of Small Projects, who had a 266% revenue increase in 10 months by focusing on how deals were being managed and using that data to optimize the sales process. Or Chris Greco from StoreWise, who we helped lock in the best quarter in company history while working together. So if you're hearing this and thinking, these guys have the sales experience I'm missing, they've done this for other founders just like me, and they actually guarantee I'll get a clear, repeatable system, then the next step is simple. Beneath this video is a button to schedule a free Accelerate call. It's where we'll sit down, take a look at your business, results, systems, team, and everything in between. Next, we'll explore if and how we can help accelerate your sales and what that looks like. So click the button and you'll get a couple of quick questions to make sure we're in the right place. And on step number 2, you'll be directed to a calendar to schedule a time that works. So why does our approach work so well when doing it yourself and hiring and hoping fail? It's because building a scalable sales process requires 3 critical pillars, but most founders only get one. First, you need a proven strategy designed by seasoned go-to-market experts who've scaled companies just like yours before. But a strategy is completely useless without implementation. So you also need a dedicated team in the trenches with you, building the playbooks, coaching the reps, and making sure the work actually gets done. And finally, you need total visibility. Our homegrown AI system analyzes every single call and metric, not just a few, to give us the data we need to fine-tune the process and ensure it's consistently improving. So in short, we plug our entire team of seasoned go-to-market experts directly into your company and work with you to build all the strategies, materials, and processes you need to be ready to scale. Like Michael Fedenishin, our Chief Customer Officer, with an impressive award-winning track record spanning over 30 years in sales strategy, operations, and enablement for companies like Zoom. A master operator and strategist who knows.
All right, I'm back. All right, thank you everybody for watching my commercial. If you'd like to book a call, you can go ahead and click the link. I am back. Okay, so let me go. I scroll to the top and I go through the questions as they came in. Let's just see here. Have you tried fine-tuning a model with your own writing or posts? So I haven't. I've considered doing this. I have some good friends of mine who are kind of very technical in the AI space, have done a lot of fine-tuning. One of them actually built his own model from scratch, and specifically more of a financial model. And I've been given the advice that it's probably not worth going that direction. It's more of a prompt engineering problem and a context engineering problem than it is like a fine tuning of the model problem. I will probably explore some fine tuning stuff in the future, but for right now, from kind of the experts that I talk to, it seems like fine tuning is overkill for a lot of the normal stuff that you want to do. So that's just been my experience. Steve, if you have, I'd be curious to hear your experience with that. Okay, next question here. What's the creative that you use to go along with the text? Do you pull the video or generate an image? So no, I don't. I only do text-only posts on LinkedIn and X. They perform the best for me, so I just keep doing it. Everyone has a different experience. You can absolutely create creatives for them. You can take a screenshot. Now, remember, the videos are getting posted, right? So the clips that I'm doing, like those are getting posted on social media. I used to post those as well on LinkedIn with the post, but they just didn't perform all that well, so I stopped doing it. Also, like the LinkedIn algorithm being really weird the past month for me. So I started like stripping away some of the posts I was doing, and I'm sort of trying to re-optimize what I'm doing on that side. So no, I do not. But you totally can. If you guys are curious to play around with image generation stuff, Google's model Nano Banana, it sounds fake, that's just what it's called, is very good at doing the image generation stuff. And they actually just came out with Pomeli. Pomeli is really cool. This is a Google thing. Let me just grab the link to it for you guys. Or Google. You type in Google Pomeli. So here's how it's called. Okay, cool. It's called Pomeli. It's by Google Labs. What you do is you put in your website there, and it does like a scrape of your website to figure out like what you guys do, and you grab the images and your colors and your fonts and all of that, and it'll generate images for you depending on what you're asking it to do. Something to play around with. It's new and more experimental, but really, really cool. I would give that a look. I've been impressed with it. I fixed the link. Thank you, Monica, for saving me. God forbid we don't send the survey out. That'd be horrible. And thank you for doing it. Okay, will the recording be shared? So all of our recordings end up, I don't know when my assistant does it. They end up on this part of our website. Let me send you the link. This is voris.com/events. And you'll see there's a past events section. If you click on that, you'll be able to watch the recording of any of the past events. I do feel like she posted it pretty quick, so probably by the end of this week it'll be live. But we don't email it out to everybody. You just go there and you'll see it, and you can see the recording. So there you go. Any other questions before I let y'all free? And before I kind of close out here, thank y'all for taking the time. It's Thursday. There's a lot you can be doing. You're spending it with me, and I appreciate that greatly. Hopefully this was useful for you. I know it's different for those of you repeat. Like, this is way different than what he normally does. Our other live classes, what you'll notice is like it's very tied to a framework, and there's like a worksheet or like a spreadsheet or a calculator that I'm giving you to actually do something that's very tangible. I wanted to spend some time going through how we're using AI, how we think about using AI, what some of our stuff looks like, to give you some inspiration on how you could be using it. I don't know if this is all that helpful. Somebody in the audience gave me this idea once, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So hopefully this was helpful for you. Thanks again. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions or need anything, you know where to find me. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon. Bye.